Believe it or not, 75% of all the money on Earth was never printed. It was literally typed into a computer, tap, 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 and just appeared. Meanwhile, the actual bills in your wallet are made from a secret cotton recipe older than your great-grandparents. So what's more insane, a dollar bill made of cloth, or trillions of dollars that are just numbers on a screen? Today, we are chasing every single dollar from a cotton field all the way to a secret government spreadsheet. Paper isn't paper. Pull out a note and rub it. Feels like paper? It's not. 3/4 cotton, 1/4 linen. One bale grows in Louisiana, ships to Crane and Company in Massachusetts, then to the Bureau of Engraving. That $5 bill tipped to barista? It began life as a cotton bud, not a tree. Ink, pressure, and secret ribbons. This is where it gets crazy. They start printing with huge 70-ton rolls of this cotton paper. Then giant metal plates literally squash the ink so hard onto the paper you can feel the ridges with your fingernail. While it's still hot, another machine punches the serial numbers in, leaving these tiny craters. Here's a secret. If you fold a real bill, the ink will crack. On a fake bill, it just bends. Fortress inspection and laser eyes. Dried sheets roll under cameras that fire 40,000 images per second. A single color drift or a crooked seal and the note is shredded, pressed into a brick, and hauled to a landfill, worthless despite costing thousands to make. Survivors are guillotined, shrink-wrapped into bricks of 4,000, stacked on pallets that hold up to $64 million each. Robots inside the Fed move these pallets by barcode. People rarely touch them. Our fingerprints smear the ink. The Fed buys what orders. Here's the kicker. The Bureau prints only what the Fed requests. It's like a restaurant kitchen that won't cook a single dish until an order comes in from a customer. The Fed is a customer. The Bureau is a chef. No order, no print. Your ATM dispenses new bills only if your bank asks its regional Fed for cash. The Fed tally demand and place that order. Treasury sells the bills to the Fed for about 7.5 cents apiece, whatever the face value. Where the presses stop. Paper cash is roughly 1 in $20 in existence. The rest are pure digits. Imagine every dollar is water. Bills are the splash. Bank reserves are the iceberg underneath. We could stop here, but 95% of the story is still underwater. Quick favor. Hit like if you've ever held a fresh brick of bills. Strap still warm, and comment the year you saw one. Wondering how few people actually have. Typing money into being. Picture the New York Fed. A clerk clicks a button and boom, banks instantly see new reserve balances. How? The Fed just bought Treasury bonds from them. Think of the Fed as the economy's DJ. Buying bonds is like turning up the music, flooding the system with reserves so banks want to lend. Selling bonds is turning the music down, pulling reserves out. No ink, no trucks, just confidence. Economists call it an open market operation. The multiplier nobody talks about. Banks currently hold 0 required reserves on most accounts. So $1 billion in fresh reserves can become $10 billion in loans. This is like putting a single drop of dye into a clear vase of water. That one drop spreads and colors everything. The math is simple. Bank A gets $1 billion from the Fed, lends $900 million to Company B, who pays contractor C, who deposits in Bank D, which lends again. One keystroke, billions of dollars, no trees harmed. Rates, repos, and the invisible steering wheel. Every day the Fed floods or siphons reserves to keep overnight, lending inside its target band. When repo rates spiked in September 2019, the Fed pumped in liquidity. When markets sag, they buy treasuries, pushing rates down, encouraging borrowing and hiring. The steering feels mushy, like nudging a cruise ship with a pool noodle, but over months the giant ship does turn. Emergency keystrokes. QE infinity. During the 2008 crisis, the Fed's balance sheet jumped from under $1 trillion to over $2 trillion. In 2020, the pandemic took it past $7 trillion. This is called quantitative easing. But think of it as pumping gas into thousands of parked cars. The fuel, the reserves, is in the tank, but the cars aren't being driven, so it doesn't create speed. Those weren't printed sheets, but ledger entries persuading banks to keep credit lines open during the panic. Critics call it money printing, yet inflation stayed modest because most reserves sat idle like gas in a parked car. Still, the ability to type trillions without touching a press is the Fed's modern superpower and lightning rod. Fiat trust, not gold. Since 1971, no vault of gold backs each dollar. So what does trust? It's like a language. We all agree the word apple refers to fruit, so it works. We all agree a dollar has value, so it does. It's backed by the productivity of 330 million workers. Abuse that privilege, and investors flee into real assets, crypto or another currency, just like if a word lost its meaning. So far the world prices oil, planes, and microchips in dollars. Confidence, not shiny metal, keeps the system humming. If the digital part just blew your mind harder than the cotton paper, hit subscribe and send this a friend who still thinks Treasury runs the printers all day. In conclusion, we followed the dollar from a cotton field in Louisiana through engraved presses into the Fed's encrypted servers. One story smells like ink guarded by armored trucks. The other is weightless, moving at light speed across fiber optic cables. Together they form the lifeblood of a $25 trillion economy. Physical cash for coffee tips and parking meters, digital reserves for skyscrapers and paychecks. Next time you slip a crisp bill across the counter or watch your bank balance jump after payday, remember both birthplaces. The press pounding at 750 tons per square inch and the quiet keystroke that can top the world's mints without leaving a single ink smudge.